Tell us all about Ducklings. How did you get started in the business? I understand it was mom who founded the company, but I'd love to hear how this concept was born.
Well, Ducklings is full day fun and learning for children 6 weeks through 6 years of age. And my mother did start the business. She founded Ducklings back in 1994. She was the director for a YMCA program here in Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And the board of directors decided to close the childcare program for that particular location. And in Chadds Ford, Pennsylvania, here, it was still kind of rural and there weren't a lot of childcare options. So it displaced about 40 families, leaving them without care.
Wow.
So my mom bootstrapped it. She figured out how to start a childcare center. She borrowed $40,000 from my dad's 401k plan, found a small rented space that was the sales office at a new townhome development called Pond's Edge. And that's how we started. And she kind of figured out licensing. She figured out all the requirements as far as toys and furniture. And the very last thing that she needed to figure out was a name. But being in a place like Pond's Edge, Ducklings seemed like the perfect fit.
Oh, of course.
And over the years, it's really just been absolutely perfect and kind of come to mean a whole lot more.
Oh, that's so sweet. So did your mom have any entrepreneurial background before working at the YMCA?
She had done a little bit of everything. Her background, she started as a real estate agent back with Century 21, back when the mustard yellow blazers were in vogue. And then she wrote mortgages for a bank. And when my youngest sister, Hillary, went to school, my mom went to school. She went back to college and went to college for what she wanted to do, which was education. So, like so many women, she put off her education until her kids were taken care of. And we see that a lot in early education. We see a lot of moms that are making or deferring a lot of choices.
Yeah.
So we understand what it is that they're going through. But my mother's background in real estate and in mortgages, all those skill sets that she kind of compiled just made it kind of perfect for what she's doing now, being a franchisor of this early education company.
Absolutely. So when did you come aboard?
I came aboard right after my oldest child was born. I'm kind of in the same boat with her. My background actually is in audio engineering and music production. So we always joke that I made a lateral move from, rock stars to toddlers, a lot of tantrums and vomit.
Oh, that's great.
But again, it's working moms, you tend to make decisions and you tend to have some choices. And I just was very, very fortunate that we had this family business and it's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be with my child during the day. And being in music, you really, unless you're with a band that happens to take off, there's not a whole lot of choices out there. So I went to work with my mom, and
What
that
year?
was
What year? Yeah, I would say, what year was that?
early 1998.
Okay.
And I've done pretty much everything there is to do in the business, from changing diapers to changing light bulbs. I started working as like the administrative assistant, doing the billing, doing tours, helped her open a couple of schools. So I've been with the company about 26 years now.
Yeah, and now awarding franchises.
Now I'm awarding franchises.
Sweet.
That's right.
So I would imagine, as the chief development officer, one of the questions you must get from people that when they inquire is that, okay, what makes Ducklings unique compared to the other, early learning centers and, daycare centers throughout the country? There's so many franchises.
Well, many of us in the early ed space offer a similar base service, but Ducklings has always been a little different. Our program focuses on whole child development through play-based learning. We have all the favorites. We hit all those points, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, shapes, but we also incorporate a social emotional element. We want to make sure that children are successful in all facets of life. We have a gross motor program that straddles those basic scholastics with social emotional as well as physical education, working in teamwork, working in a curriculum compendium that just carries over what it is that they're learning in the classroom. All of our schools also come with an indoor gymnasium, so we want to make sure that we make the best use of that space.
Okay. So let's see. We have 4 company-owned locations, 12 franchise locations that are open now. You guys started in 94, but didn't franchise until 2019. So you guys had quite the run before getting to franchising. What was was there like a defining moment, or what made that decision for you guys, or what made you guys decide to transition to franchising?
We had 4 large locations, and we were constantly being approached by families that wanted to have a Ducklings in a location that they were moving to, or they had family that was out of state, and they said, oh, you should really put a Ducklings over here, over there. And all of our Ducklings corporate locations had really great staff, longtime staff, and we wanted to grow more, but we knew that we were really maxed out with what we had on our hands at that time. We also had just gone through national accreditation, and national accreditation is painstaking work. It is, you have to document absolutely everything that you do in all facets of your business. And back then it was before it was digitized. You have to do it in like 3-ring binders. And little did I know at the time, but we were basically writing an operations manual. So we go through all of this. We had also been approached on several different occasions by longtime staff that had wanted a Ducklings of their own. And they had said, if you ever decide to sell this, I want to buy it from you. So when my mom had started thinking about like wanting to expand, it just kind of seemed like the next natural thing.
Makes sense, right? You kind of answered my next question already, which I get from so many founders, and that's, I want to franchise my company, but I have no idea where am I going to find my franchisees from, and marketing is so expensive. But you found franchisees the typical way that many of us do, and that is they were customers. They were customers first. It's referrals, right?
It always is.
Yeah.
And actually, our very first franchisee was one of our longtime employees.
That's the other one. Yep.
Correct. So in 2019, our very first franchise owner was the longtime director of one of our locations. Deb bought Ducklings Oxford as our very first franchise owner. She partnered with her daughter, who started Ducklings 20 years prior as an infant. So we think that that's a little extra cool. And we have 5 Ducklings owners who we call it the Triple Crown Club right now, where it's, they were a Ducklings staff person, a Ducklings parent, and now they're a Ducklings owner.
Well, wait till we get to the next stage, and that is a child that was in Ducklings that grows up to be a franchise owner.
Well, we already have one, but that's a good start.
That's fantastic. Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fumey, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.